I haven't made a video on basketball in a while. Last time I did, it was some of the absolute peak of the sport. What's today's topic? Oh no. So it's 1987 and the NBA is looking to expand. George Shinn, who's a Charlotte businessman, dangled a brand new state-of-the-art Charlotte Coliseum and the NBA gave him a team. Along with the Heat, the Hornets began play in the 1989 season. They had some interesting players come and go, including Muggsy Bogues, who was 5'3" and a good NBA player. The Hornets did have a decent core with Bogues, Larry Johnson, and Alonzo Mourning, and that core made the playoffs in 1993 and even won a series on a Mourning buzzer beater. But this was the 90s, so the food chain demanded that they lose to the Knicks. In 1995, they made the playoffs again and faced a Bulls team that's absolutely beatable. Well, forget that, they're screwed. And to make things worse, Mourning and Johnson had beef, so the Hornets traded Mourning to the Heat. Then a few years later, Larry Johnson to the Knicks, where they would beef further. Anywho, remember George Shinn, the rich guy who got the team to Charlotte in the first place? Well, he had some issues beyond the scope of this video. Basically, TLDR, the people of Charlotte hated him, and so he and a few others wanted to move the team. Both the Hornets and Vancouver Grizzlies put up bids for moving to Memphis. When the Grizzlies won, Shinn did the thing every sports team owner does. He said, "Well, if you don't build me a new stadium at no cost to me, I'm out of here." The city put up a referendum, but it didn't pass. So the Hornets are moving to New Orleans after the 2002 season. But a small problem. They made the playoffs, and they even won a series against the T-Mac Magic before losing to the Nets. Then they packed their bags and left. So Charlotte is now without a basketball team. For like 2 years. So you know how the Browns left Cleveland? Well, when that happened, the city was extremely upset with the Browns leaving, so the NFL was like, fine, here, take an expansion team. This team also called the Browns. But over in the NBA, when the Hornets left for New Orleans, they kept the name Hornets. So the new Charlotte team would need a new name. So they went with Bobcats. Nah, it's terrible. The Flight? Nah, it's bad. The Dragons? Well, it's pretty good, but it's taken. Wait, I got it. The Charlotte Bobcats.
But I like it.
Of course you do.
So the Bobcats started as an expansion team with an expansion draft. They picked up a couple decent players, most notably Gerald Wallace, but new GM and head coach Bernie Bickerstaff knew that the team needed some top draft talent. So they traded up for the second pick in the draft. That's right, baby, the Bobcats get to pick number 2 in one of the best drafts in NBA history. Except that was the 2003 draft. The Bobcats started in the 2004 draft. That's tough. They picked Emeka Okafor second overall, missing out on Dwight Howard. But Okafor did win Rookie of the Year, but the team was dismal, finishing at 18-64. After moving into the new Charlotte Bobcats arena, the Bobcats improved to 26-56. Hey, remember that guy that beat the Hornets in 95? That's right, he's back again, and about time too. MJ bought a minority stake in the team, with the deal stipulating that he would become the head of basketball operations. I'm sure when he handed his resume in, he pointed towards his accolades as a player and not as a manager. Wikipedia describes their late February record of 22-33 as playoff hopeful. Ladies and gentlemen, Eastern Conference basketball. They finished 33-49 and let go of Bickerstaff. They replaced him with Sam Vincent, formerly of the Mavs. Despite having one of their best seasons yet under Vincent, he was fired after 1 year. So, who do we go with? Can we get Larry Brown? Wait, no way, they actually did. He came into Charlotte and immediately turned them into a team looking for a playoff berth. Following their win against the top-seeded Lakers, the Bobcats were the 9 seed with just 8 games to play. They were competing with the Bulls for the 8 seed, sitting just 2 wins behind them. In the meantime, you can come on down to the Charlotte Jumper Classic, a horse event held from April 11th to April 15th at the Charlotte Bobcats Arena. Yes, that is the real reason the Bobcats played 6 of their final 8 games on the road. They dropped 7 of 8 and finished 4 games back of a playoff spot. After that deflating end to the season, the team rebounded to clinch its first ever playoff berth. It was against prime Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic. And look, we all know they have no chance. They didn't, they got swept, but progress is still progress. So the next year, the Bobcats took a little bit of a slide after trading the only all-star in team history. Larry Brown and MJ beefed, and so Larry Brown resigned. He was replaced by Paul Silas. Then came the season that prompted this video's creation. So it's the day of the 2011 draft, and new Bobcats GM Rich Cho is gonna have a pretty busy afternoon. Stick with me as this gets a little bit complicated. First, Charlotte sent Sean Livingston and Steven Jackson, plus the rights to the 19th overall pick, who was Tobias Harris, to the Bucks for Corey Maggette. The third team in the deal, Sacramento, got John Salmons and the draft rights to the 10th overall pick from Milwaukee. And then to complete the trade, the Kings sent the 8th overall pick, Bismack Biyombo, to the Bobcats. The rookie the Kings traded for? Klay Thompson. Nah, just kidding. It was Jimmer Fredette, who, as we all know, had a much better career than Klay Thompson. The Bobcats also picked Kemba Walker 9th overall. Did I forget to mention they had the 9th pick? Well, they did. Kemba Walker was an absolute stud at UConn, helping lead the Huskies on an immaculate run to win the Big East in 2011. And then they went on to win the worst national championship game ever over Butler in Houston. So that's who the Bobcats picked up to be the face of the franchise. Then they flipped their second round pick for Byron Mullins and picked up Reggie Williams from the free agents pool. And so we're off. That's right, I always forget about the lockout. On one side is the NBA's Player Association. The president of the PA was Derek Fisher. Man, that guy shows up wherever you need him. Need a game-winning bucket with 0.4 seconds left in a playoff game? Derek Fisher. Need a pinch runner in Game 5 of the 2017 World Series? Derek Fisher. Need a leader negotiating with the NBA? Derek Fisher. On the other side, it's David Stern, Adam Silver, and the owners of each NBA franchise. I don't know how to show them all at once, so which one of these stock photos do you think looks the best? Anyway, the 2005 CBA expired, and the big ticket item was what percentage of the league's income should go to player salaries. The owners proposed a reduction from 57 to 47%, and the PA counter-proposed with a reduction to 53%. Is this boring? Did you come here for basketball and are now being bored to death by a labor dispute? Okay, fine. We'll check in with the players. Well, J.R. Smith is hooping over in China with the
Zhejiang
Golden Bulls. And when I say hooping, I mean hooping, as he averaged 34, 7, and 4 with 2 steals in his 32 games with the club. Kevin Durant famously went to Harlem and dropped 66 points in an iconic performance at Rucker Park. Of course, I'm contractually obligated to talk about LeBron. Hey, it's Kevin Durant again. We're going on a tour of the United States, just showing up at random courts in random cities across the country and balling out. Sometimes with each other, sometimes against each other. They even worked out in Akron at one point, which is pretty funny when you consider what the finals matchup was. Kobe hit a buzzer-beating game winner in the Drew League right in James Harden's face. And speaking of the Drew League, John Wall was there. So was KD because he was absolutely everywhere during the lockout. Melo balled out, CP3 balled out, Steph was doing, Steph things. KD was playing flag football, but he really was everywhere. Okay, that's enough basketball, back to the boring stuff. It'll be quick, trust me. So the NBA and the Players Association settled with about half of the league's revenue going to the players. But it took them so long to do that training camp ended up starting on December 8th. That's also the first date free agency and trading was allowed. Now, opening day in the NBA was October 26th the prior year. In the 2011-12 season, the season started on Christmas Day with a quintuple header of games, and it would end in late April. The Bobcats started their season on December 26th with an exciting close win against former Bobcat Steven Jackson and the Milwaukee Bucks. Are you ready for some high-octane, action-packed, non-stop Charlotte Bobcats basketball? It's Charlotte Bobcats basketball. I don't know what you were expecting. So yeah, the team started 1-0 and then immediately dropped 26 of the next 28 games. They finished the season with 59 losses. Not good at all, but not the worst ever. I mean, there were 2 teams last season that finished with 60+ losses. But I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, that's right! Instead of moving the season back, the NBA canceled a bunch of games and shortened the season to 66 games. So first off, we'll talk about the wins. Trust me, this will be quick. Charlotte never managed a winning streak, obviously, but they did piece together the same record as the finals-bound Heat for about 24 hours. Okay, let's just dive into them one by one. We already talked about the opening day win, and on January 4th, they went into Madison Square Garden and shocked the playoff-bound Knicks 118-110. Boris Diaw dropped 27 points on 80% shooting, and DJ Augustine pitched in 10 assists. A few weeks later, on January 14th, the Bobcats beat the soon-to-be dynasty Golden State Warriors, albeit a team missing Steph Curry and Draymond Green. In his first career start, Kemba Walker dropped 23, 4, and 5, one of 3 Bobcats to drop 20 points in this game. Oh joy, now we get to talk about this mess. So, you probably see this court that the Raptors used for a few years and think, huh? The thing they're trying to do is a neat 3D sign effect, and it does kind of look like that, at least until a ref or a player walks over it and you get confused. Anywho, Reggie Williams dropped 22 and Augustine chipped in another 10 assists. March 6th at home versus the playoff-bound Magic, the Bobcats were down by as many as 20 early on, but Paul Silas was ejected for the game after arguing a foul call and was replaced by his son, Steven, who now took the head coaching gig down 16. And then the Bobcats went on a 20-0 run to take the lead. And then the Bobcats won the game by 16. March 12th, hey look, it's the Hornets. Winning by 2 in the closing seconds, all-time name guy Al-Farouq Aminu drove to the basket and was denied by Biyombo. Bobcats win! Welcome back to the show, Toronto. How's it been? March 17th will go down as the date the 2012 Charlotte Bobcats won a season series. I'm not joking, the Cats won 2 of 3 against the Raptors. Hey, remember a few minutes ago when I said the NBA season ended in late April? Well, that second win against the Raptors was the Bobcats' final win of the season, on March 17th. That's right, they lost their last 23 games of the season, posting an 0-16 record in April. Their best, and air quotes on the word best, month was March, where they went 3-14. The best starting lineup the team sent out was DJ Augustin, Boris Diaw, Gerald Henderson, Corey Maggette, and DJ White. That group went 2-4. The Bobcats had 2 players get some award votes. Kemba Walker was tossed a handful of Rookie of the Year votes, and Gerald Henderson was even tossed a first place vote for Most Improved Player after upping his scoring, assists, rebounds, and steals per game. The Bobcats failed to win on Sunday and Thursday in the 2011-12 season, although curiously those were the 2 days they averaged the most points. Their average margin of victory was negative 13.91, meaning they lost by an average of 14 points per game. Needless to say, Paul Silas was fired. The Bobcats had the lowest unadjusted offensive rating and unadjusted defensive rating, as well as the lowest adjusted offensive rating and adjusted defensive rating. Net rating is an estimate of point differential per 100 possessions, and the Bobcats are doubling up the next closest team. The Bobcats not only had the worst win-loss percentage of this season, but they had the worst of all time. Interestingly enough, the Bobcats were not the team least favored to win the title that season. That honor would go to the Toronto Raptors. The Bobcats didn't have the worst attendance in the league. That honor would go to the New Jersey Nets, who were soon to move to Brooklyn. And I personally find it funny that the Indiana Pacers, who made the playoffs, had the second worst attendance in the entire league. Okay, that's enough bad basketball. Obviously, the Bobcats had the best lottery odds for the number 1 pick, but since the basketball gods hate tanking, the Bobcats got the number 2 pick, missing out on Anthony Davis. That is just about the toughest L ever dealt to an NBA franchise, but hey, the Bobcats could still get Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard or Andre Drummond. Look, we both know that the Cats don't pick Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard or Andre Drummond. They went with, drumroll please, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. In the second round, the Bobcats selected Jeffrey Taylor over nobody important. Oh, except Draymond Green and Chris Middleton. The new head coach for the 2013 season was Mike Dunlap, formerly of St. John's. The team rebranded, always a good idea to wash the shame and misery away. They signed Ramon Sessions and traded Corey Maggette for Ben Gordon and a first-round pick from the Pistons. The team started 7-5. Let me repeat that. The 2013 Bobcats won as many games as the 2012 Bobcats in 54 fewer tries. Anyway, the team was still terrible, finishing second to last in the league, but hey, that's progress. Dunlap was fired and replaced by Steve Clifford, formerly of the Lakers. Before the 2014 season, the New Orleans Hornets changed their name to the New Orleans Pelicans. So the 2014 season is the one and only time you can see Bobcats versus Pelicans. The Charlotte Bobcats made the playoffs in 2014, just 2 years after the worst season ever. Alright baby, let's go. Time to shock the world. I'm not scared of the Heat. I thought we had him. Who knew this LeBron James guy was good at basketball? And then the Bobcats died. Well, they became the Charlotte Hornets, but, well, you know. So, just to recap, the Hornets became the Hornets, and then the Bobcats were created, and then the Hornets became the Pelicans, and then the Bobcats became the Hornets, but the current Hornets have the history of those Hornets, not these Hornets. It's the Pelicans that have the history of those Hornets. In conclusion, I can still stretch a few more minutes out of this. So the now Hornets picked up Noah Vonleh. Ooh, could've had Zach LaVine. Later on in the first round, they snagged Shabazz Napier with the 24th pick. Is anyone else craving some Taco Bell right now? Hey, who's that guy at the bottom? Okay, last playoffs, LeBron dominated, so the Hornets signed Lance Stevenson, noted LeBron agitator. Good plan, guys. After not that great of a season in 2015, the Hornets acquired Nicholas Batum, Jeremy Lamb, Jeremy Lin, and a few others. They selected Frank Kaminsky 9th overall, and they could have gotten Devin Booker. Somehow, the Hornets ended up as a playoff team, being the 6th seed against the Heat. But don't worry, LeBron wasn't there anymore. They took the series lead 3-2 after a tough Game 5 win on the road. But Purple Shirt Guy couldn't slow Wade down, and the Heat won Games 6 and 7 to win the series. After the season was over, they foolishly gave Nick Batum a bag, and he maintained his mediocre production. The next few seasons blended together as a pile of mediocrity. When they let go of their best player in team history, Kemba Walker, after 2019, it felt like the team would never get a star of that caliber. Oh right, they drafted LaMelo! With LaMelo producing some wicked highlights, he dragged the Hornets into the play-in tournament where they would lose in back-to-back years. And that's where we are today. Hopefully the Hornets don't waste his talents like they did Kemba's. Now I know the last time I saw that, the Seahawks took it personally and traded everybody I talked about. Maybe this time the Hornets won't trade LaMelo. Alright, I'm done, bye.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't really understand, but I fell down the ceiling, I got glue on my hands, and I got records on my fingers. Records on my fingers, I got records on my fingers, and I just can't stop.